You can go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Thompson, Councillor, and I'm the chair of the Economic and Community Development Committee. The clerk has confirmed that we have quorum, so I will call meeting 14 of the Economic and Community Development Committee to order. So welcome, everyone. This meeting is being held using the city's WebEx technology, with members and staff connecting by video conferencing or calling in or attending in person at Toronto City Hall. Because we're meeting remotely, we ask for your patience with any delay and technical issues. Members of the public can watch the meeting live on YouTube at youtube.com/Toronto City Council Live. Madam Clerk, are there any registered speakers?
Mr. Chair, I can confirm that there are no registered speakers currently for this meeting.
Okay, great. So I won't actually proceed to the next section other than move on. I won't mention that. I'd like to remind staff as well to keep their mics muted with their videos turned off unless they need to speak, to answer questions, or speak to the committee. This will make it easier for me as chair and for those watching on YouTube to observe members as they participate in the debate and vote on items. Members, please keep your mics muted unless you wish to ask questions or speak on an item, and ensure that your video is actually turned on. As part of each agenda item, I will ask members to raise their hands or unmute their mic if they wish to answer questions of staff, ask questions of staff, or speak. I will then create a speakers list and will call on the members when it's their turn to speak. When voting on an item or a motion, I ask that members ensure that they turn on their videos and raise their hands to indicate their votes. Members, I want to remind you that although you're participating remotely, you must still submit your motions in writing to the clerk. The clerk staff are available at ecdc@toronto.ca to help with motions. If there are any visiting members of council attending the meeting today, I would like to encourage you to turn on your videos so that I know that you are present and can give you the opportunity to ask questions of staff or speak. This will assist a clerk staff in recording the attendance for the meeting. I've noted that note that Councillor Fletcher is on as a visiting member, and I also note and see that Councillor Fillion is on as well as a visiting member. Although we are in different locations and meeting remotely today, the committee acknowledges that the land that we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewas, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississauga of the Credit. Are there any declaration of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? If you have an interest, please raise your hands and unmute your mic and indicate the item number and the nature of the interest. I will wait a second to see whether or not members have any interest.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Councillor Carroll, good morning.
I'm sorry, I was having trouble connecting and I just came in on the end. It sounds like you were waiting for responses, but I don't know what to.
Okay, fair enough. I was just asking whether or not there was a declaration of interest, Councillor Carroll.
Oh, okay, then I'm all caught up. Thank you.
Okay, you're good. Thank you and welcome and good morning. May I have a motion to confirm the minutes from our last meeting on June 4th? Vice Chair Grimes, all those in favor? Oppose? It carries. Madam Clerk, are we good?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So, members, let's proceed to review. We have 5 items on the agenda as was initially listed. We also have another item that's been submitted by Councillor Fletcher, so that's new business. Madam Clerk, can I just go ahead and just add that to the agenda now and ask for a vote on that? Procedurally, are we okay?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we just want to display the item on the screen for all
Yes.
members. So if you give us just a second to do that.
Of course, take your time. Thank you. This is a communication from Councillor Fletcher regarding the Jimmie Simpson Recreation Center. This communication was sent out to all members. So the clerk has added the communications to the screen, and there's a recommendation that's been submitted by Councillor Fletcher. I'll just give members an opportunity to read and review the recommendations, and then I'd like to ask that we add this item to the agenda for consideration. If members are good in terms of reading the recommendation, I'd like to ask that we add this item to the agenda. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. Councillor Fletcher, your item has been added to the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving right along, we are moving to EC 14.1, proposed Lawrence Ingram Keele Business Improvement Area poll results. There is a recommendation added to the item. So members, I know you all have read this item and you are aware of the issue there. So I would now go ahead and ask for a vote. How do you wish to deal with this? All those in favor?
Move.
Okay, moved by Deputy Vice Chair Grimes. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. And we're then moving next to item EC 14.2, Bayview Leaside Business Improvement Area. It's a minor expansion. Again, the recommendations are contained. Does anyone wish to hold this item or to discuss this item? Okay, please raise your hand or unmute your microphone. All those in favor? Oppose? That carries. Thank you. Moving on to EC 14.3, Team Toronto Mayor's London Mission, March 2020. The items there in front of us, the recommendations are there. Does anyone wish to hold this item? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Oppose? That carries. Thank you. Item EC 14.4, Economic Advancement Opportunities for Persons Living with Disabilities. Councillor Carroll, do you wish to hold this item for now?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. We'll hold that in your name. Thank you, Councillor Carroll. All right, we are now moving to the next item, EC 14.5, expediting the formation of a business improvement area in Willowdale. It's a letter from Councillor Fillion with recommendations. The councillor is here. I don't know whether or not he wishes to hold this item or to allow this item to proceed. Councillor Fillion, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Thank you. If everybody's good with it, I don't need to speak, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Fillion. I think everyone is in support, and congratulations, Councillor Fillion, on advancing this. All those in favor with respect to EC 14.5? Oppose? Okay, that carries. Thank you very much. And now we will look at the additional item that's EC 14.6 will be added, the added item from Councillor Fletcher. Councillor Fletcher, did you wish to hold to speak to this item, or did you wish to proceed?
I will just speak for a second if I can, and then ask for a vote.
Yes, I think that would be fine. And if anyone else has any questions, well, first let me ask if there is any members who have any questions on this particular issue.
Well, Mr. Chair, while Councillor Fletcher is speaking, can I just ask, is the new item being sent to us? Do we have a written copy we can look at while she's speaking?
Yes, it was sent to your email, I believe.
So it's emailed. Okay,
It was
super.
emailed, yes, Councillor. And then
Thanks.
also, the clerk had put it up. Would you like us to put up the recommendations again, Councillor, so that you can
Put
see
it up
quickly?
again. That's a
Yeah,
good.
we'll take a moment, Councillor.
Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
easier.
We'll just wait a moment. Councillor Carroll will be up in a second. Let me know when it's okay for us to proceed, Councillor Carroll.
Sorry, did you say it was being emailed to us? Because I haven't received it.
Up on the board, Shelley.
It's great that it's on the board. I'm just trying to get at how do we handle new items of business and how do we get them quickly to members? Not this one. It's not that I have a problem with this one. I'd just like when a new item is introduced, if it can be sent to us, that would be great. But I have not received this one yet.
Councillor Carroll, if I could just, I would say to you, I received it, and I don't know whether it was all sent. I saw a list, and the clerk and I discussed it this morning. It appeared that it had been sent, so I'm not sure what transpired or what happened, but according to the information that I had, this communication from Councillor Fletcher was sent to all members of committee, and the clerk did confirm this morning with me that it had been sent as well. So we will, I would say, review, Councillor Carroll, if there was an issue there, but I'm just wondering if there is sufficient opportunity for you now to review the material.
Yeah, I'll just read it on the screen. I guess the problem is individual to me, and I'll deal with it after.
Sure. Thank you very much for your cooperation, Councillor Carroll. Okay, so are there any questions on this issue before we move to speakers? Members? Just unmute your microphone if you have any questions. Okay, I don't see any. All right, so to speak, visiting member, Councillor Fletcher, thank you. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And this actually communication is going to the city manager because it's through the city manager's office and Mr. Toigo that all of the work gets done on transit expansion. As we all know, Metrolinx took over all of our transit planning and transit building from the TTC, and they will be building the Ontario line. City Council asked a while ago, maybe 8 or 9 months ago, to let Metrolinx know about the community impacts of having an above ground line, asking them to please put it underground. So as and we don't get a lot of communication from Metrolinx. I think everybody who's dealt with transit expansion understands that the TTC, very communicative, but Metrolinx, we don't have the same relationship. Obviously, it's a provincial body. They are changing the environmental assessment rules for the Ontario line. And I just want to specifically about the 2 kilometer section that is above ground, does have a fairly significant impact. Jimmie Simpson Community Center is currently about 15 feet away from the embankment. And with an above ground line, there is a big worry in the community as to what will happen. So that's just putting this on the record as a major piece for the Ontario line, since we understand that Metrolinx has decided not even to look at what it would take to bury that line. So we're into above ground territory now. This one is very much about the community center. There are 7 parks, which will also be impacted, 3 definitely in a big way for stations. So this is just first focusing on now we're starting to understand what's happening, and we really do need to have some thinking about this. So just appreciate the committee support to get this into the city manager's hands, into Mr. Toigo's hands, into Ms. Romoff's hands, so we can start looking and assure the community that the city isn't far behind on the issue of Jimmie Simpson. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Fletcher. Is there anyone else to speak? I didn't see a show of hands or anything, but I think I'll just ask. Okay. Seeing none. So the item is in front of us. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Thank you. Congratulations, Councillor Fletcher. Your item has been approved by members of committee. All right. We're moving back to EC 14.4. Economic advancement opportunities for persons living with disabilities. Councillor Carroll, questions?
Hi, no, I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to ask a quick question of staff regarding this communication, and I think it's extremely important. I'm just wondering whether or not there's an opportunity for us to look further with respect to the request. In that, is there a way that the city could help to procure and perhaps obtain technology equipment so that we could help the community, to providing more opportunities for them? You know, because of COVID, we've all been working remotely for the most part, and technology has essentially been a great, obviously, influencer and saver to a large extent. I'm just wondering whether or not we would want to consider that as part of the consideration looking into this matter.
Mr. Chair, it's Julie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, Madam DCM.
So I'd be willing to take that under advisement and to look into it. The only caution is, up until now, what we've done is either donated equipment at the city that is no longer useful, or we've
Yes.
worked in partnership with other vendors in the private
Yes.
sector through our top office. And
Right.
we can definitely look at those kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, and
I
I
just
think
need
that,
some time to examine it with our IT and our Toronto Office of Partnerships.
thank you, and that's why I'm not putting in moving an official motion. That's why I just wanted to have a discussion, because I thought that'd be a great opportunity for us to inquire with some of the companies who are interested in partnering and creating opportunities for folks who are disadvantaged and where there is a gap that we've actually seen. So I just wanted to highlight that point.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor Carroll, did you wish to speak on this item?
Sorry, I am really sorry. There are two things going on in my office. This is the problem with virtual meetings. I have questions of staff on the item.
Okay, Councillor Carroll.
It is a report request, but before we proceed, I have to ask questions of staff, Mr. Chair, because I received a request from the chair of the committee, Persons Living with Disabilities committee, sent me an amendment that she wanted to add, naming a bunch of associations, naming a bunch of assisted devices, but I'm wondering if that's not really necessary. Am I not, I think I'm correct in thinking that if we adopt this report today, probably the first step of the staff that would be associated with writing the report, the first step would be to sit down with the chair and fully understand what the committee's looking for. Am I right?
It would seem to be very prudent approach, Councillor Carroll. But I'll let staff also respond. Madam DCM?
Yeah, through the chair. Yes, we would definitely sit down with the chair of the committee to understand exactly how we should be interpreting this and if we're missing anything, and make sure we have a full picture of what they're requesting and the types of initiatives they want us to investigate and report back on.
Okay, so if I was to name a list of associations right now and a list of assistive devices that people may be using that we have to accommodate in jobs, I could miss one. I'm really better off leaving it to the folks who have on staff in employment at social services to fully explore this.
Yes,
Am I right?
We'll do that. We can do that.
Okay. I'll speak to the item then. Thank you for those answers.
Thank you very much, Carol. I wondered if there was anyone else wishing to ask questions of staff on this item. Just unmute your microphone. I can't see everyone. Okay. All right. I can see everyone now. Michael, were you good? Okay. All right. So, Councillor Carroll, to speak.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I received a very short notice notification from Councillor Wong Tam, who's the chair of that committee, and they received the request to do this report from a very active member in the community, and I think they do have a real deep amount of thought on where we should go on this, but I know others do as well, and so I do have faith that staff will do a scan in the community and certainly go back to Miranda, who suggested this, and Councillor Wong-Tam was the chair of the committee. I don't want to really tie their hands now. For me, what's important is that it's crystal clear as they go forward to write the report that they're, inventorying what we do already, inventorying the agencies who not only assist but help work on employment that exists in the city and that we sometimes provide employment and community development grants to. Really doing a scan and then looking at where the gaps are, and that needs to be done quickly. Ordinarily, we might ask to for a report like this and then allow 18 months, 2 years to come back to us and tell us what large strategy we might embark on. But there's a really urgent need here. Some of the agencies that generally provide support provide help in job hunting for both visible and invisible differences that people may have, whether it be a physical disability, a cognitive disability. A lot of the agencies were closed for a time, then were open but are having to operate differently, just as we're sitting here doing this morning. And it's really important that this be done as quickly as possible. And the members of our Persons Living with Disabilities committee can really help engage in that work very, very quickly so that we can do a scan of post-COVID, what are the challenges? Because I really believe that if we do that right now, we're not only going to help agencies that have been affected in how well they can help, but we may also be fixing problems that were there before. We may find that there was a gap all along, and we can fill it now as we fill some of the gaps left by COVID-19 lockdown. And so I think if the first steps are to sit down with Councillor Wong-Tam and sit down with the contributors to the motion that went through their committee, that they'll be able to get to work more quickly than they might otherwise. So I'm going to leave it at that and hope that it's a unanimous vote to embark on this work.
Thank you very much, Councillor Carroll. Is there anyone else to speak on this item? Okay. Seeing that, Councillor Carroll, I note that the recommendation 2 is asking that this report be brought back to the November 16, 2020 meeting of the Toronto Accessibility Advisory Committee. So I think there is, while it's November, the fact of the matter is that I think it's within the realm of time that I think you would see that there's an opportunity to do justice to this report. So I think it fits in there with respect to your request. All right, so members, all those in favor of this item? Show of hands. Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Madam Clerk, I think we have come to the conclusion of all the items that are on meeting number 14 for today. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
And so I would now like to ask for a motion to adjourn today's meeting. And just before I do that, I want to just thank the clerk, staff, and the team who have made this virtual meeting possible. Appreciate it, and thank all members of the ECDC committee. So I'd like to ask Councillor Lai, motion to adjourn. Okay, members, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Have a nice day, everybody.